that is on the road. And he's given him! Vinocelov's got a hat-trick on his birthday!
Alright guys, how are you guys doing? It's me, Aman, Huda here, starting the brand new podcast on my channel called The Elite Champions. It's basically a sports talk show. It's been something we've been trying to do for quite a long time, and by we, unfortunately, only I'm here for this first episode. My partner, SuperTanuma, really good friend of mine, he can't join us today, but he will be in the next episode, which we are planning for Friday. In fact, as a heads up, each podcast episode will come out on Sundays and Fridays. Okay, so now we got that settled. I guess I'll give you a little bit of intro what this podcast is mainly about. It's basically not just sports in general, but we're trying to look into the sports world, especially in the world of modern day sports. Sports is a very competitive nature. It's very interesting. Things can happen. Things can change all the time. So we want to look into it deeper. We want to try to figure out what happens. And that is our goal here. So for today, I will be leading. And in fact, honestly, I'm probably the only one on this episode. But for any viewers out there, before we start the show, we would just like to say, if you have any comments, go ahead and just comment below. If you have any questions, go ahead and question it. We will address them throughout the show. And hopefully you will like this. You can also view this later if you're not watching it right now, if you can only watch a part of it. You can also view the entire thing later up on YouTube again. Or we will upload it to Google Play Music. We will upload it to SoundCloud, so you can check it out there. All right, so without further ado, I guess we can get started. Let's see. So we have three main topics we're going to try to talk about. We're going to talk about, I guess, a big thing in America right now, we can say, is the NBA Finals, straight up. We can also do the NHL Finals, but we're going to save that for Friday after the entire series is done. But for now, we're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We also got soccer season's over, so we got a lot of transfer rumors going on. Some interesting transfer rumors. We're going to get to those. And then, you can't go without the world's pinnacle, the Champions Trophy. So we're going to cover the Champions Trophy as well, go in depth into all of that. Right, so without further ado. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on one of these topics. I guess we'll start with the NBA Finals, because why not? So basically, the same two teams that played last year, Golden State Warriors and Cleveland, are now into the finals once again. Last time around, things were interesting. Last time, Golden State won the first 3 out of 7 games, and you have to win 4 games out of 7 in order to win the championship. They won the first 3, and then they lost the next 4. And Cleveland were declared the winners. It was quite brilliant, but in the summer, Golden State did do a bit of business. They did sign a huge name player from Oklahoma City. Huge name player. And here they are back again. Cleveland. So here's the interesting situation. First 3 games, Golden State won again. Then Cleveland comes back and wins the 4th game. The 5th game is going to happen on Monday. But what's interesting to see is that it could be the same pattern as last season. And history very rarely repeats itself in the world of sports. So to have it happen again would be quite insane. But I think if we look at it, you have to look at it from Golden State point of view that we won the first 3 games. We just want to win the 4th, and we tried too hard. A lot of reports were saying that it was a very feisty game. There was a lot of a little bit of violence here and there. Not too much, but it was quite a feisty game, as they called it. And I think with that is that the logic behind that, you can say, is that Golden State just wanted to wrap up the 4th game. They just wanted to wrap it up right there and then, and they were attacking too hard, and they just missed out. So now, how is it going to go further from here? Are they going to keep trying harder and harder and keep making mistakes? Because Cleveland right now are just going to look to capitalize on the mistakes. That's Cleveland's game plan. I can see going forward to capitalize on mistakes. If I were Golden State, I would try to stay calm and approach this like any other normal game. Approach it like a season game. If you stick to the plan, you will win it. You will win the series. Don't think about the trophy. Don't think about what you're going to gain. Wait until the very ending to savor it. That's what I would do if I were Golden State. Now, if I were Cleveland, I would try to attack as hard as I can, hold possession, try to shoot as many times as possible, force mistakes from the Golden State defense, force mistakes, and then once you force those mistakes, you capitalize on them. If you get another win, then it'll get easier and easier. Okay, so that's obviously NBA in a wrap. Let's go into Champions Trophy. Actually, let's see how the Champions Trophy is like. Let's go into Champions Trophy. With the Champions Trophy, so actually, I just finished up watching the England versus Australia game, and that means Group A is wrapped up. If you don't know, there are 8 teams into 2 groups. In Group A, we have Australia, New Zealand, England, and Bangladesh. And Group B, we have India, Pakistan, South Africa, and Sri Lanka. So recently, things have taken a turn, but Group A has just been wrapped up. We now know who is going on to the semifinals, and quite some shocking results. The favorites without it, and England were very strong. Who had to be their batting without a doubt. Their bowling was very good, but I think it's the batting that took them through, especially Owen Morgan, number 4 batsman. He always comes out to the crease. He always knows what to do. He always has a game plan in his mind, and he just follows through. So England just defeated Australia by I believe it was 40 runs. That's a pretty big margin on Duckworth Lewis Stern system. But the second place is the most shocking. Bangladesh finished second. Bangladesh haven't been in the Champions Trophy since 2006. They missed out on 2 Champions Trophies, and now here they are in their first ever semifinals. Their first match against England, they did obviously lose, as I stated earlier. England won all their matches, but Bangladesh put up a really good total of 300 plus. And then in their second game was washed out, unfortunately, and it looked like they were actually going to go on to lose that against Australia. Then in the third match against New Zealand, that's where everything came back. New Zealand did start off strong. Kane Williamson getting himself off the mark again. Ross Taylor getting a brilliant score. But towards the ending, Mustafizur Rahim comes on to bowl. He picks up wicket after wicket, and New Zealand are soon restricted to 265 for 7, which in a modern day 50-over game is not really too good. It's a fighting score, but it's not too good of a score. But then the opening lines, Tim Southey and Adam Millen, they start off brilliant against Bangladesh. They take 3 early wickets. Tamim Iqbal, Imrul Kais, and Soumya Sarkar. Those 3 fail to put on a good score. And normally when Tamim Iqbal can't score, Bangladesh will lose badly. That's the majority of rely on Tamim Iqbal. However, Mohammadullah and Shakib Al Hasan came out. Now, personally, Shakib Al Hasan hasn't had that good of a tournament. Bowling-wise, he's been okay. Batting-wise, he hasn't done too well. So it was basically down to him. He wanted to make his name. I got to bat good. I have to make it to the semifinals for our country. So Shakib Al Hasan goes out there, puts up not just a century, but a very quick century with a very healthy strike rate of around 90. Along with his partner, Mohammadullah was playing the smart shots, and Shakib Al Hasan was hitting them down the ground. Bangladesh won the game from 36 for 3 down, and they went all the way to 265 for 4. It was absolutely unbelievable. The record highest partnership in Bangladesh history of 214 runs. It was absolutely phenomenal. So with that being said, Shakib Al Hasan did get man of the match, and Bangladesh are through following the England-Australia result. How it turned out was that if England would win, Bangladesh would go through. If Australia would win, then Australia would go through along with England. And Australia, I'm going to be honest, they started off weak in the beginning. They lost early wickets, but then they picked up the pace. They actually picked up the pace. Steve Smith batted well. Travis Head, especially. Travis Head got a quick 50, put himself onto 70, put himself at the top spot on the scoreboard. And from there, Australia made it to about Australia. Yeah, so Travis Head put up a really good score. The bowling line was really good with England towards the middle overs. Adil Rashid and Liam Plunkett both took 4 wickets each. Adil Rashid, he didn't play the first match at the Oval against Bangladesh, but he came in the second match, made his mark right away, and now put himself on the stage in the third match. Australia did end up getting 277 for 9 in the ending, and England Well, when England started, you could tell Australia were desperate for the win because they lost their 3 weeks early. Jason Roy gone. Alex Hales gone for Duck. That was quite unbelievable because Alex Hales has had a brilliant tournament, and then he faced the pressure and he went out for Duck. And then I think the moment which Australia got a bit too overconfident was the wicket of Joe Root. Australia, after seeing that wicket, were like, okay, we got the danger man out. It should be easy on from here. But they were wrong. Ian Morgan came out. He knew what to do. He had the plan. Ian Morgan himself even says in an interview that he loves to chase. And he did exactly that today. He almost put up a century, got out run out on 85, but it was Ben Stokes who continued. Ben Stokes is like the aggressive batsman. He continued ripping through the Australian line, especially the spinners. And play was stopped at the 40-over mark with England at 240 for 4. But they were 40 runs ahead on DLS system, giving them the victory. Going over to Group B. So Group B, it hasn't been wrapped up yet. There's still 2 days left. But the good thing about Group B is that anything can happen from here. It's definitely going to keep eyes. It's definitely going to keep viewers. Anything can happen from here with Group B. So Group B basically it started off with South Africa against Sri Lanka. South Africa were deemed favorites. And to be fair, they did put up a good score. They put up almost a 300. I think they put up 299, almost a 300 score. And then Sri Lanka comes on to bat. They start off quite nice, and then the wickets start to tumble. Imran Tahir and Rabada, those two are the current. They're the highest ranked bowlers in the world, both on the same team. They destroyed Sri Lanka. Now Sri Lanka coming off to a loss. They were struggling coming into this tournament. They barely made it. They finished off topping 6th place in the rankings. And now they lost the first place team, South Africa. And Sri Lanka looked like their Champions Trophy could be over right there and then, I had to say. Going into the next match was actually quite interesting. India versus Pakistan. All eyes were on both these teams. Obviously, the biggest rival in sporting history, some can say, arguable. India... squad selection was a bit interesting for both teams. Pakistan started off very good, the bowling line. They didn't pick up the wicket, but they started very good. But that's where they went wrong. Because they didn't pick up the wicket and they were focused on restricting the runs, that allowed the batsmen to stay out longer. And then when they had the chance to get the runs, they got the runs. And they got the runs quickly. Within the last 5 overs, about 70 runs were scored off the Pakistani bowling line. It was pretty bad for the Pakistani bowling line. But India enjoyed a sweet victory by about 124 runs, I believe. It's probably more than that. I wouldn't lie. Pakistan were bowled up for 165. Azhar Ali getting 50, Hafiz getting 33, but the rest of the team honestly collapsed. It was quite pointless. Now, match day 2 was the turning point for Group B. The first match, Pakistan against South Africa, changed everything. South Africa were expected to win by big margins. They were actually bowled out. And then Pakistan comes on. They bat as if they owned it, and they ended up winning by 19 runs on DLS system. So now South Africa has a win and a loss, and Pakistan has a win and a loss. So if India now wins against Sri Lanka, if India wins, they're going through, just like England. However, they didn't. They honestly batted off very well. India. India started off very well. They even put up 324 runs. Yeah, they put up a huge total for Sri Lanka to chase, and they chased it. Sri Lanka lost early wickets, but Angelo Matthews, Jeevan Mendes, these guys ended up putting such a they came to the ground as if they knew what to do, and they saw victory in their heads before it even happened. And Sri Lanka goes on to win the match. Incredible. Now basically everyone has a win and a loss. So what that means, it's like a quarterfinal or a pre-playoff before the playoffs. Whoever wins between Pakistan and Sri Lanka on Monday will go through. Whoever wins between South Africa and India will go through. So it's completely possible for an upset to happen. It's completely possible for Sri Lanka to go through. Who no one thought. It's completely possible for India to be knocked out. It's possible for South Africa to be knocked out. The number 1 ranked team, South Africa, it's possible for them to be knocked out. But from here, anything can happen, really. But before we move on to another segment. There's been a lot of turning points in this Champions Trophy. But one thing I'm going to have to pick on ICC for is ICC has been a bit too strict, especially with the Sri Lankan team. The banning of the skipper Upal Daranga for 2 matches for something I would argue that wasn't even at his fault. Obviously in cricket, the fielding team captains do get if they're fielding way too slow, meaning if they're taking too long to do their bowling innings, then they can be suspended for a match. Sri Lanka against South Africa had finished their 50 overs within 5 hours. That was incredibly long, way too long for a 50 over one-day cricket. And most of the blame went to Lasith Malinga, who made his return to one-day cricket after 2 years. So a lot of the blame went to him because he was taking 7 minutes to bowl a single over. So of course it's going to take you 5 hours to do 50 overs. But for some reason, Upal Taranga was banned. And not just for one match, for 2 matches, meaning he's not going to be able to play against Pakistan on Monday. But Lasith Malinga is still free. So I want to look into ICC. And I want to ask ICC, like, why is this, Why is it only the captain who's getting banned? Like, if you're going to ban the captain, you might as well ban the player who's taken the most amount of time, Lasith Malinga in this case, or you might just not ban them at all. It just doesn't make any sense. But Angelo Matthews did step forward, and they did deliver a big victory against India. Sri Lanka do have some injury problems, though. 2 of their players are injured, including Kusal Perera, who probably will not be able to play against Pakistan. So Sri Lanka are going to have to really tighten up those gaps if they want to be able to beat Pakistan. New Zealand's an interesting topic. They actually finished bottom in the group table, which was absolutely unexpected. Their match again, they start off very strong against Australia, reducing Australia to 53 for 3 before the match was washed out, both getting a point. Then everything just collapsed against England. England put up a big score. Then their batting lineup was all out in the mid-200s. And then finally coming in against Bangladesh, how do I say this? New Zealand couldn't find the spot. New Zealand couldn't actually figure out how to tackle the Bengali batsmen. So everywhere you bowled, the Bangladeshi batsmen found a way to hit it. So now they don't know where to bowl. How do you get the batsman out? And eventually you have to try to force dot balls to force the batsman to make a mistake. But there were no dot balls. The Bangladeshi batsmen kept using singles to their advantage. And at the start, you may think singles isn't that much, but at the end of the match, you realize all these singles total up to a really big score. Australia was also a pretty shock. To me, they seemed flat throughout the entire tournament. They won a warm-up match. But then, since then, even against Pakistan in a warm-up match, they only played like 10 overs before the match was rained out. But within those 10 overs, they'd lost 3 wickets. And it seemed quite flat. And then coming into the tournament, their performance against New Zealand was absolutely horrible. They were luckily saved by the rain. Against Bangladesh, they were doing really good, actually, restricting Bangladesh to about 182. Then on their way to victory and rain. So I can feel how the Australians feel. Now, obviously, we try hard to get this victory, and all of a sudden it's out of our hands. And it's not even in our control. I'd like to point out, so we're done with the group stage, so I'd like to point out some of the best performances. Batting-wise, I'd have to say Kane Williamson of New Zealand. Obviously, New Zealand finished bottom last, but Kane Williamson himself, on all 3 occasions, came up and made a good score. And he tried his hardest to contribute. But it was the middle order. Honestly speaking, it was the middle order of New Zealand. And every single match, middle order collapsed, including Corey Anderson. He was expected to make a big score. Corey Anderson is a very big hitter. But all matches, did he even get double figures in a match? Corey Anderson was quite an upset. Continuing on with the bat, really, Ian Morgan of England, he's been there repeatedly. I think he's got 2 or 3 half centuries now in this tournament alone. Absolutely brilliant. Bowling-wise, we've seen some really good performances. I like to note out England's Adil Rashid, the leg spinner. He's played 2 matches. In both matches, he's came out and performed. England have perfected a system with 2 spinners, Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali, and it's gone their way. Found it hard to try to face the different varieties that Adil Rashid can bowl, and he's just capitalizing on it, taking the wickets. All right, so without further ado, I think we should head on to another segment, the World's Game Soccer. Obviously, the season's over, so we're going to look at some of the transfers that are going, and we've received a lot of big news lately. One of my friends told me to talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He to some sources, not 100% confirmed, but to some sources, he was released by Manchester United, which doesn't make any sense. There's only two reasons I can see why Manchester United would release him. First of all, they might think of his age, because Zlatan is old in the soccer world. But I don't think that's it, because Zlatan is still scoring despite being old. The only other reason would be money. Zlatan's probably requesting a pay increase, and Manchester United probably don't want to pay it. So, no, nothing's confirmed yet. But in the event that Zlatan is released, where could he go? He could probably go to the MLS. He could go to China. They're paying a lot. Probably one of those two places I'd say he'd end up going, either China or the MLS. It'll be quite interesting to see where Zlatan will go. So, with that being said, another soccer transfer, probably the biggest one I've seen so far, has officially been kicked out of Chelsea Football Club, which doesn't make sense because he was Chelsea's top goal scorer in their Premier League winning season. But Diego Costa, one thing that was said is that Antonio Conte, the manager, has his eyes on a better striker. But I think the bigger reason is his ethic. Diego Costa, he's a very rude player at times. He's not a very smart player. And I think that's hurting the rest of the team and their mentality. So I think Conte wants more of a unified mentality, and Costa is going his own way. So it depends where Costa will go now. It's interesting to see. Maybe back to Atletico. He's definitely getting offers from China. That's for sure. Huge offers from China are going to be coming in. Tons of money there. Along with Chelsea, Eden Hazard, a lot of rumors saying for him and Real Madrid. These have been going on for years, but they've been closer than ever now. Eden Hazard, Gareth Bale himself have been declining, so they might see him as a replacement for Gareth Bale. I mean, I'm not too sure. If you have any ideas about transfer rumors, just comment down below. Another big transfer rumor, Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal Football Club. Obviously, Arsenal have not had the best season. They finished 5th place outside of Champions League spot, but they've still won the FA Cup. Sanchez, the top goal scorer for Arsenal Football Club this season. A lot of rumors are saying he will leave the club. Arsene Wenger, the manager, has signed a 2-year contract extension, meaning by 2019, he will be the manager of Arsenal after 22 years. So Alexis Sanchez, he obviously has 1 year left on his contract, but he's receiving tons of offers, most notably Manchester City and Bayern Munich. Manchester City look like they might be picking up the pace, but we're not too sure. Obviously, in the transfer window, nothing's too sure. I think as far as the business goes, I think Manchester United have done the best business so far. They've signed themselves a goalkeeper from Benfica. Manchester City haven't done too bad either. They've signed themselves a defender from Monaco. Anyway, so that's basically done with our opening news. So let's try to go into. Okay, so we are receiving some questions from people. We have 2 questions that we're going to touch on. The first one, this is a bit interesting. If you don't know yet, I'm an Arsenal fan. And one of the questions I got is that why did I choose to be an Arsenal supporter? Well, this is going to be interesting. I don't live in London. I don't sound like I live in London. I've never been to London. So I have no connection to Arsenal. Well, why did I choose them? Well, it kind of has to do when I was introduced to soccer. But when I used to play soccer a little, when I was a lot of teams would, a lot of players would just hoard the ball and they never pass to me. I mean, I'm sure we all have experience with that. It's very annoying. But I always like to watch soccer on TV, and I always tell, man, teams pass so much. Why don't we do that when we play? And then I look at Arsenal. Every single goal they scored, almost every single goal they scored, was putting all the 11 players into that goal. Meaning, all the 11 players had some sort of a connection to do with that goal. Whether it be the passing technique, whether it be the dribbling, whether it be running. When I saw Arsenal doing this, I was amazed because it showed that there's a purpose for the 11 players. That's why all 11 players are there, so that they can be able to score with the help of all 11 players. Obviously, one person will get the name for the goal, but all 11 in reality contributed. That's why I chose to be an Arsenal fan. We do have one last question before, unfortunately, we are going to close this segment today. One last question. This is interesting, relating back to the Champions Trophy. A cricket team is made up of 11 members, and once 10 of them are out, the innings is over. But if one is off injured, instead of having the 12th man come out for him to bat, they keep batting with the rest, and basically, instead of 10 now, a team has 9 wickets to bat with, 9 wicket partnerships instead of 10. So basically the point is that it's not fair because like if a player gets injured in football, there's a replacement. If he gets injured in soccer, there's a replacement. Imagine a player getting injured in soccer and all of a sudden he has to go off, no one can replace him. Imagine how hard that would be. So the question in cricket is that why can't the 12th man bat, basically? And the reason behind it is that all 11 players should be able, whether they're batting skills or not, they should be able to hold off the batting line enough to try to push for the victory. So whether you send in your number 1 batsman in opening or whether you send in your number 5 batsman in opening, they should have the potential to try to deliver victory. That's why if one player is out, then the other team are expected to carry the not the other team, the next player is expected to carry the responsibility instead of having a replacement do it for him. Also, having a new batsman, number 12 batsman coming in, I mean, he's going to have to get settled on the pitch and everything, which takes quite a while. I mean, yeah, so that's basically the answer if you were interested. Anyway, so we are going to head out now. It's been a pretty short podcast, I guess. I'm really sorry that my partner could not be here, but he will be here, hopefully, in the Friday episode. But that's basically, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the Elite Champion Sport Talk Show. You can view this later on this YouTube channel, or you can view it on SoundCloud. I'll leave links to it in the description when I upload this again back on YouTube. I will share it to Facebook and Twitter. You can view it pretty much any streaming you want. Google Play Music will have it. So without further ado, I'm going to say bye. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.